The idea of an all-controlling, caring, supernatural God is very attractive one. It can make our mortal lives seem less frightening and more comforting. But what is it which people call God? Is it a reality or just a creation of human mind? Are there reasons which warrant the existence of God? Or are there equally convincing arguments which put to doubt or disprove its existence? And what will be the difference if God existed or did not exist? There are three philosophical schools of thought which attempt to resolve this issue. They are the theism, atheism, and agnosticism. According to the theist or the school of theism, God does exist. They are sometimes called the Christian writers. They had advanced several arguments to support their beliefs about the existence of God. One of these arguments is the cosmological argument by Aristotle and Thomas Aquinas. According to them, whatever comes into existence is caused by something which is actually existing, and this existing thing must be caused by another thing, so that by going further, we are led to an ultimate cause which is God. Therefore, God exists. Another argument is the ontological argument popularized by Saint Anselm during the 11th century. According to him, God's existence is not due to what we can infer from the world of experience, but through the mere fact that we can think of the most perfect and most sublime. Therefore, the only way to explain the or contingent character of the constituent part of the world is to know the necessary being, which is God. The third argument of the theist is the theological argument. According to this argument, there must be a lawgiver and intelligent being to demonstrate the growth and development of things, as well as the revolution of the planets around the sun and the succession of the season, and many more. They call this being as God. The last argument of the theist is the moral argument that starts with the assumption that there is in every human heart a craving for justice and happiness, and we can only attain justice and happiness in the existence of another world, and that world is the world of God. All in all, this argument shows that the first cause, the necessary being, the prime mover, the supreme perfection, and the object of all human desire is what men call God. Thus, according to Immanuel Kant, author of the book Critique of Practical Reason, morality could not have any solid foundation unless God is affirmed not as a matter of reason but as a matter of faith. And now that you have heard and understand the side of the theist, let's proceed to the second school of thought, which is the atheism, who denies the existence of God. According to them, if God exists, beliefs in Him has no relevance to the life of man here on earth. They have their history of atheistic philosophy. It starts with the ancient atheism. There are three Greek thinkers under this era who gave parts from their writings and suggested atheistic tendencies. They are Heraclitus, Democritus, and Epicurus. According to Heraclitus, there is no creator of the world. Thus, the world was not made by gods or men, but that is, was, and is, and will be ever living, fire, self-originating, and self-extinguishing according to the measure and law. Democritus and Epicurus argued that the origin of things and the existence of the universe and God are happened because of the collision and combination of atoms. Thus, nothing remains forever but atoms. On medieval atheism, it seems to be the most religious period in this history because of the predominance of Christian theology. They believed that there is no need for God to create the universe of things because in an age of theological bigotry and fanaticism, it was not safe to sound radical or revolutionary. During the modern atheism, Ludwig Feuerbach, a German philosopher, argued that it was not God who created man according to his image and likeness, but rather it was man who created God according to his image and likeness. Because if God is said to be the most intelligent, it is because man is intelligent. If God is the most loving, it is because man knows how to love. If God is merciful, because man can forgive his fellow man. And if God is the most just, it is because man knows a measure of justice. And during the contemporary atheism, Jean-Paul Sartre and Nikolai Hartmann questioned the arguments of the theists that if God is granted as the creator of man, man's freedom and possibilities would be limited. And the other source of atheistic thinking in this era is the development of science and technology that has been argued for so many people that with modern science and technology, man can now grapple with the problems of the existence even without calling on God or on the supernatural powers. Thus, God has become a useless hypothesis. And now that you have heard and understand the both sides of the atheism and the theism, we will have the third school or the last school of thought, which is the school of agnosticism. According to them, or they believe, that we cannot prove either the existence or non-existence of God. And there is no logical way in which the evidence of non-existence or existence of God can be proven. Because agnosticism is a philosophy which teaches that if God exists, is beyond human comprehension, or that no one knows whether he exists or not. Agnostics are not theists because they don't believe in a God. They consider themselves to be atheists because it has two meanings for them. First, atheists are those persons who positively believe that no God exists. And secondly, atheists are those persons who have no belief in a God. However, some agnostics feel that their beliefs match on the second definition, and thus they consider themselves to be both atheist and agnostic. According to Leslie Stephen, author of the book An Agnostic Apology, 1892, theologians and metaphysicians are pretending to know what cannot be known. Such metaphysical ideas like absolute substance and theological beliefs are expressions of some wishful fulfillment which surely cannot be said to be true or false. In conclusion, the three schools of thought, the theism, atheism, and agnosticism, have always existed side by side since men began speculating on God or God. To some people, God is an indispensable value without which their life would be bereft of purpose and meaning. To others, God is beyond human cognition. Hence, it is vain, if not a waste of time, to inquire into its existence or non-existence. And still to others, God is of no importance because even without God, man can live happily and morally.